Okay, but life on the missions and in the pueblos and even in the presidios was not always easy. It was actually difficult for the Spanish people to adjust to the natives and for the native people who are right here to adjust to the Spanish people because their cultures were just so different. So the Spanish people or the Padres and all the people that were with them came from far away, from Europe, from Spain, and it was a long journey, and their culture was very different with a different language and all of that. And here are the natives, and they had been living in this land for many years and had gotten used to things kind of the way they were. And so things weren't always hunky-dory on the missions. One of the worst parts about living on a mission, though, and this is actually one of the saddest parts, though, is that the Spanish people, when they came to America, they actually brought with them diseases. Now, not on purpose. It's just that lots of different groups of people carry different kinds of diseases. And the Spanish people brought with them, they brought measles, which was and could be a deadly disease. And they also brought a disease called smallpox. And they brought another disease called diphtheria. And all of these were terrible diseases that ended up killing the natives. Here's a photo of a sick Native American, and here's another photo of mortal sickness among the Indians, is what it says. And mortal sickness just basically means deathly sickness. Now, this sickness got so bad sometimes that here's an example. On one particular mission, I think it was within 9 years. So let me draw these. These are my stick figure Native Americans. But the diseases got so bad that at one particular mission, within 9 years, half of the natives that were living at that mission perished. So it would be like this many perished and only this many were still alive. Forgot my cross. Well, despite how hard it was to live in the missions, the era of the missions actually lasted for a while. But how did it end? Well, in this year, which I'm drawing right now, in the year 1821, the Mexican people, who were actually being controlled by Spain, got really tired of being controlled by Spain. And so they declared independence from Spain, kind of like the United States had done with England. And so they declared their independence, and they won the war against Spain. So here I am drawing a cannon to represent, as a symbol of war. And this person right here is a Mexican citizen. He's going to be holding a flag that says Mexico on it. And so they won the war against Spain. And I'll draw a Spanish person here looking really upset about his loss. And he'll also be holding a flag. But this one is a flag of Spain. How sad. So Spain lost the war and Mexico won. Now, because of that, then this people from Spain, or the Spanish people, ended up moving out of California. And when they moved out of California, they also moved out of the missions. And so the Spanish era was over. And now the Mexican era had begun. Mexico! Viva la Mexico! Yay! And so the people who actually lived in California and were Mexican citizens now, they were called Californios. And what they did to earn a living was they actually lived on these giant ranches. So they got given, a bunch of men got given land grants, or basically given the land from the country of Mexico. And what they did with all that land was they built ranches, and these ranches in Spanish are called ranchos. And the people who lived on them, like I said, were called Californias, or you could also call them rancheros. And what they did on those ranches, they grew some crops, of course, to keep themselves alive. But mostly what they did was they herded cattle. Now let me write the name. California. Right there. And there's his land. And here's his rancho. With the sun. It's nice in California. Okay, so you may be wondering, and even if you're not wondering, I'm going to tell you anyway, but you may be wondering why those Californias spent so much time herding cattle. Well, some of you might be tempted to think that they were herding cattle because they used the cattle or the cows for beef, burgers and stuff. Well, that's actually not the case. Those Californios realized that these cow hides, or the cow hides that they were able to strip from the cows, basically cow skin, was really, really valuable because cow skin, otherwise known as leather if you treat it appropriately, can be used for many consumer goods. Do you remember that word, consumer goods, from BizTown? Well, you could use leather for shoes, which I'm attempting to draw right now. You could use leather for satchels, and the Californias needed, leather satchels and bags and stuff to carry their things on when they went on their horses. And you could also use leather for hats and lots of other kinds of things. Cowboy hat. Yeehaw. So basically California was now a part of Mexico, and it was basically a land of cowboys and ranches, and these cowboys and ranches used their leather hides to create these consumer goods, and they traded these consumer goods for things that they needed, like spices, and sometimes they wanted jewelry and other kinds of things. And so the era of the Californios and Mexico and the ranches, it lasted for a few years until and this year is gonna sound really familiar to you, I hope. Until the year, and maybe you're even guessing it right now, 1848. Yes. Now, do you know what happened in the year 1848? I really, really hope so. But if not, let me give you a clue. It has to do with our room. And yes, I spelled our room correctly. And it also has to do with this little ditty on the periodic table. Are you remembering it right now? It's shiny, it's kind of a yellowish color, and that's where we're going to leave off today. Now, of course, this is not the entire history of California, because everything I've taught you right now actually happened before California was even California. But the rest of it, we're just going to have to learn later. Ta-ta. See you later.